So, in the previous lectures, we discussed about the operation of cupola furnace. So, coming back to the foundry. So, once the metal is melted, there are quite a lot of things you can do with the molten metal. So, one thing is to make them into billets or ingots like that. So, those are nothing but they are big bars or cubes or cylinders of molten metal, which can be utilized for further processing. So they are very large objects of metal, which will be available in the bar form. For example, a bar of 1 ton, 2 ton. Similarly, cylinders of such high weights, which can be utilized for further processing, like a heat treatment process, rolling, extrusion, etc. Another way is making them into desired shape using a process called as casting. There are these two steps can be done. So once in the foundry furnace is done, then you will be going for molding machine. A molding machine is a machine where you can make casting. So casting is a process by which metal is converted into required shape. So we'll be discussing about casting in the upcoming slides. So before that, what are the raw materials used in a foundry shop? So first thing is metal. So it may be iron, it may be aluminum, it may be copper, it may be zinc or magnesium or any material. Predominantly iron is used and aluminum. These are the two metals which are predominantly used. But basically we do not make aluminum castings that much as that of iron castings. So iron is mostly used for making casting process. And then there is sand. Sand is used to make mold, out of which the metal casting will be done. And then there are additives which are used to bind the sand together. So what's the process of casting? The basic process is listed here. The first thing is sand molding. Sand molding is a process by which a metal mold is created. Sorry, a sand mold is created into which molten metal is poured to get the required shape. And then there is a melting and pouring process. Melting is done with the help of furnace, as we discussed. And then pouring the molten metal into the sand mold to make the required shape. And then there is deburring and finishing. So all this process we'll discuss in detail in the upcoming slides. There are various types of castings available, namely sand casting, pressure die casting, centrifugal casting. Then there is your ceramic casting. So various types of casting are available. But the predominant type or the most preferred type is sand casting. The reason we are using sand casting because sand is readily available and sand can be easily reused. That's the reason why we are going for sand casting. Sand is cheap, sand is easily available, sand can be reused again and again. So the basic process of sand casting is similar to that of your clay pot making. So in clay pot making, what we are doing is we are mixing clay with water, then we are making it into required shape. So similarly here, sand will be made into required shape by some process with the help of a pattern. So in your kindergarten, what we'll do is we will have a metal, we will have some mold of teddy bear or something. We'll place it in sand, and once we remove the mold, the sand will take the place of that teddy bear or truck or that bucket. So that's the same principle that is used in the sand casting process here. So the material which is used to make that shape is called as a pattern. So that pattern is used to make the required shape. And once the pattern shape is made, then we will pour molten metal into that to get the required shape. So that's an introduction to the sand casting process. So to give you a quick recap of what we saw in this lecture video, we discussed about the casting process. So once the molten metal is created, it can be either created into regular shapes or it can be made into required shapes. So in order to make the metal into required shape, for example, if you need to make a metal door, then it can be done with the help of casting. Similarly, you need to make a knife or a fork or anything, you can make it using casting process. That can be done by using sand casting process or many other types of casting, but we have been discussing about the sand casting process. And we'll discuss in depth about the sand casting process in the upcoming lecture video. Thank you.